Morning.
Hi, Jim. Waiting on Steve.
Okay.
Hello, Jim. Morning.
Are we distanced enough, you think?
I'm not getting anybody sick, I'll tell you that. I'm not
Okay.
getting sick, so.
Well, you don't mind. I don't communicate well without...
You live your life the way you want to
Okay.
live it, Rick.
Good.
You too.
Okay.
I'm good to go. I'm an American. I get to pick what I want to do.
Well, you know, that's an argument today, isn't it?
It's a damn shame.
We had calls yesterday, a woman wanting us to go up there and shut down Rural King because she felt there was not enough people wearing masks. And I told her the process, health department.
That's right.
You know, she goes, well, I can't understand why you wouldn't come up and at least investigate it. I'm going, you have just as much right as I do to call the health department.
That's right.
And I don't understand why you'd want to drag us in. You know,
There's no code section that you would cite somebody on.
No.
The health department has that.
The only thing we'd have if the business says that they want a mask and they're not allowed on the property for trespassing, so crossing would be trespassing, that you have to leave because you're not confining their policies. So that would be the only thing we have.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way, when we had that county commission meeting, that's what I told it, and they took our advice.
Yeah.
Said, you know, you don't enforce a mask ordinance, you enforce trespass.
That's right.
The property owner wants that person off the property for whatever reason.
Right.
Whatever. They got to go.
Yeah, that's a crossover. Even security, we tell them all security, listen, you don't argue with them. Just say if you're violating policy, you must leave. If you don't leave, we're calling the police.
Yeah.
Just typical fix.
Yeah, and the last thing we want is fist fights in the freaking lobby of a store, right?
God.
That's why your people got to get over there and defuse it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, you know, even our officers are part of this basically walking on matchsticks, so to speak, dealing with people because of the aggression.
Have you seen a stranger time than this? I've never.
I have never.
You guys are in the middle of it. I don't know.
I've never seen a time when I had officers that were more worried about doing their job than not. They said, I'd much rather not do it and not have the problem as opposed to doing it.
Yeah, we need to try to protect them.
Well,
we can.
It's the pendulum, you know. You know, remember, especially this new DUI law. There's no more DMV hearing. Okay, they're putting it upon the city prosecutor to take care of this. This is an extra layer of bureaucracy that we have to handle now, and as a result, if you recall years ago when they started this big push on DUI, it was zero tolerance, and everybody lost their license. But I see now where people are saying, you know, even combined with our fines, you know, we can't get your driver's license pulled anymore because you don't pay a fine. They're given a payment program. They can pay $10 a month for 20 years. As long as they pay that $10 a month, there's no loss of license.
They're still driving, huh?
They're still driving. So it's almost somebody coming to realize, listen, there has to be another way, because if you don't have a license, you can't go to work. If you don't can't work, you can't pay your fine. Right. So, I mean, somebody's got to come up with a better solution. I don't know whether it's like the military demerits. I don't know. But there has to be a solution to where if we get somebody for shoplifting and they're put on a fine, they don't have to pay. They have to fill out a financial statement now. And we're allowed to take up to 10% of their gross income. And that's what the fine's based on. And they have 30 days to apply. Then if they miss a payment, we have to send them a registered letter saying that you're in deferment or you haven't paid. And that gives them another 90 days to respond to set up another payment program. So we're burdened with this administrative oversight that we can, one little slip up, we send it one day late, forget it.
This is the problem in the legislature.
Yes.
They pass these laws without any practical application.
Exactly.
Now, I love you a lot down there and got some bills passed, but what I noticed about all the police bills is there's never any chiefs around. There's state police, and that's it. The state police.
That's right. Well, of course,
the sheriffs,
the counties.
Yeah, the counties.
But the state police. You're right. The state police is a stop and start for all their.
Union too.
The state police have a troopers union.
That's right. They're all show up too.
Yeah.
In uniform.
In uniform. Yeah. Which question a Hatch Act? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and then those legislators look at these guys. You know, to get intimidated.
They do, and again. It's almost like the academy. Our problems are not stemming from our bad policies. It's stemming from the training they received down there and coming up here and applying this concept of I'm in Iraq, everybody's an enemy.
Yeah.
And, we knock it out of them, but they shouldn't be put this in the first place.
Right.
Now, this girl's been down there, what, 4 weeks? This week 4?
Yeah, started week 4.
This is their first boot camp. They're not coming home on the weekends. So she's gone for 10 straight weeks. And this is new to us and it's new to them.
Yeah.
But we're shaving almost 4 to 6 weeks off the training program because of this. So that's one good thing.
What makes it a lot tougher, though? Remember, basic
Oh,
training,
my
you
God.
become incarcerated. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's easier.
And I'm sure, she was nervous to begin with.
Yeah.
But
She's just young then. Was she 22?
26.
26.
Oh, really?
27. Yeah.
Okay.
But she, one good thing that we did was if we didn't have her for a while, she'd have went down there and failed. But she got a moral-based support with all the officers, and they became familiar with her, and it was constantly positive reinforcement. So she went down there saying, "I can't wait to go now." So I think that was a good thing we did. But it's costly.
Yeah.
You got to.
It's a good investment.
It is.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I'll support it. I mean, it's not my choice, but I think it makes a lot of sense.
It does. And unfortunately now, the gene pool's getting a lot shallower for cops. They're just nobody wants to do it.
It's hard who wants to do that hard work?
Yeah. So any outside stressors come into us, and it shows itself in ways to where cops start coming up and asking questions. Why am I doing this? Or what good do I get out of this? I don't feel like I'm providing anything. I'm more scared than I'm not, which constantly means the hand on the shoulder, mentoring, and telling them the positive things as opposed to the negative things. But still reinforcing the idea that you still have to do this right. So there is a negative outcome if you don't do this.
Yeah.
So it's almost a dance every day.
It's a lot of responsibility for somebody that young,
Oh, immense, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only ones in our society that can take away freedom up to a life and generally not being questioned.
That's right.
So it is, you're right, and it's some people take it good, some people don't take it so well.
I've got clients, I represent cities all over the state, and there are some that the department attitude is arrogant.
Of course.
And mean. And you can see it. You can walk into a meeting and see this kind of shit.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We're working together here.
Steve's on his way. He's just running a little late. He said he had to stop and get air in one of his tires because he had a low tire. So
Yes,
he's
ma'am.
on his way. He'll
I
be
think
here.
we're good to go. You guys need to run anywhere?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
he said he'll be here in just probably like 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
You're right, there is.
He's here.
And one of those things, that arrogance is a cover-up for ignorance to a certain extent. Don't question us, how dare you? Yet we really don't know. And they're afraid to put their guard down because somebody asked them that tough question they wouldn't have an answer to, and their standard response is going to be, "You don't have a right to ask me that.
Yeah.
I'm a cop." So a lot of that's out of ignorance.
Sorry, gentlemen, out of flat tire.
It's all right.
Let me see you guys.
See you.
Congratulations.
Well, I think I'll start. I just need a second with you. If we could step out and I'll talk to you for a minute, because I just want to get one thing clear. Just give me a second. I want to make sure.
Congratulations.
Should I ask?
I don't know.
Since the meeting hasn't even started. I say once it gets into that, you give your spiel like you gave Barry yesterday on why you've been stonewalled, and that way he hears it.
Always good to check with the boss before you start talking.
So are you here as a representative for council, city council?
Just interim for Dave.
Okay.
He's actually a favor to me.
Okay.
As you know, you never do these things by yourself.
Right.
You all got
That was brought to light in our conversation last night. I just want to make sure.
I'm representing the mayor.
Okay.
And Steve
Are
is
you guys okay if I take this off?
No, we just talked about that.
Steve is representing Steve.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to talk about is relief and appointment of the interim chief. So effective today, Lieutenant Morgan will be the interim chief of the department, and you're to remain on the city payroll till 15 October.
Okay.
And during that time, interim chief Morgan is your supervisor. So your work schedule, your comings and goings, whatever is up to him, or between you two.
Right,
I don't want
right.
to make too strong a point of that. And our expectation, Lieutenant Chief, is that he's going to provide you with any support you need as you step into this role as the executive leader of the department. And if in fact you don't need to call him at all, good on you. You know, we're not. That's up to you and between you and.
Now that is your original date of your resignation. Correct?
There's been a revision to this. After our conversation last night, Lieutenant Morgan and I had a conversation today. He doesn't quite feel comfortable with this. So my initial resignation stands as where it is.
That was the 15th.
That was the 15th. And so we are not, he doesn't feel comfortable with doing this today. There's an investigation we talked to the prosecutor about. Where's this investigation going to go? But I'm in charge of it. I have to handle this investigation. And her consideration is, she says, I got to follow this through. She says, you have to follow this investigation through. The executive side of the building can't stop this. They just have to let it roll.
Yeah, absolutely.
So-
but let me stop and say that this is not up to you guys.
Okay.
This is what we're doing.
Okay.
If you don't want to take the position, we'll find somebody else. We'll the next guy up. Okay. So you need to tell us now. If you're not willing to do this, then we'll get the next senior man up to be the interim chief. We're trying to give you all the support we can give you. You can detail him into the investigation, as you know. He can be your right-hand man as far as that goes. But this is what we're doing.
So let me make this clear. If I don't take the resignation, I'll be terminated.
Oh, Rick, I don't want to do that.
Tim, I don't want to do it either. I'm just
Why can't
saying.
we just do what we
Well,
discussed?
the officers aren't satisfied with this.
Well,
What is it that they're not satisfied about?
Are you aware of the letter that was written
Which one?
from the officers?
Yes.
And you see
Right. Sorry about these glasses.
That's okay.
No.
They're a prescription. If I take them off, I can't see.
That's fine. But you've read that letter then?
Yes.
Correct? Okay. Well, that's where the officers stand. Everything that is on
Yeah,
that
but that's
letter-
sort of the. What is your first name, by the way?
John.
John. That's sort of a separate issue. What you're talking about there. You're talking about disgruntlement with one of the other officers.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about who's going to take over during this period of time,
Right.
Until Rick finishes his termination date, or his resignation date, I should say. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about two separate things here.
so what is it?
Okay.
What is the problem? What's the source of their dissatisfaction?
So we'll go to the letter?
Of this situation,
No, of this
you being the
situation.
chief, interim chief. I mean, like,
And
Well-
the simple question, John, is: are you willing to take the job or not?
Well, I'd like to think about that for a few minutes while I'm talking to
Absolutely.
you, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Here's my issue. Rick and the mayor, I mean, their 30-year friendship is over due to circumstances, and we can get into that later. And all of a sudden, I'm going to come in. I've only known the mayor 10 or 11 years. And I'm going to fall into that position where this qualified guy has been stonewalled with everything that he's had from his department come up through. And now I'm going to step into that. Where's that going to put me in a liability situation with, I don't agree with things that are going on either right now. I've got an officer that we don't want here.
he's not though, right? Isn't he on
Right
paid
now,
administrative
paid
leave?
administrative leave, correct.
And he's subject to investigation.
Well, that's the prosecutor's investigation.
Right.
Plus the one that the chief's already started on.
Right.
Yes, that is correct. But, so then I'm going to be thrown into this, and that's fine with me. But what kind of support do I have? Other than the chief that pretty much done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of hard for me. I've got 15 years in, and I'm being thrown into this. Where obviously I'm not one of the favorites of the mayor's right now because I'm one of his guys. I don't answer to the mayor. I don't answer to anybody over here. I answer to him. Now, if he's told by them to tell me to do something, absolutely I do it. But right now, I just feel I'm being stuck in there. And yes, I am the senior person, and good luck finding anybody else in the department to step into this, because it ain't going to happen.
They won't do it.
They are so mad right now with everything going on that
I'm confounded by that, John. I don't know what else we could do to satisfy them than what we've done already. You know, you want us to fire the mayor? That's not happening. The citizens have elected them.
Not saying that at all.
What are you saying?
Well, then we move to the letter then. Are you good with that? We'll talk about the letter that was written. Or do you still want to stick to this?
I'll talk about what you want to talk about, John.
Well, that's my point. This letter was brought up amongst all the officers that signed that, all right, and me included. And the reason mine's on there, I didn't see a lot of this because Aaron Dalton had nothing to do with me. I had him in seniority. He knew that I was the second behind the chief. He didn't bother me. He talked a lot behind my back, but I don't have a problem with that. He can say what he wants. But these other guys went through a lot with him. And they finally had enough because it wasn't getting past, well, I ain't going to say past him, because he took this beyond him. Because he was roadblocked at everything. And these guys are fed up with it. They come, I will say it, I said we need to put a letter out. The chief's always told us we are strength in numbers, and that's what we are. All right? We've built this department with his guidance since he's been back to the best this department has ever been. And the changes that's been made to this department, and the policies have been put in place, and the chain of command has been put in place. We've never had that here before. I've been through 2 other chiefs, and it was you never had that. And Jimmy Smith, I've known him forever, love the man, but no discipline, no chain of command. It was a daycare in here. You come in, officers brought their kids to work. You know, it wasn't good. He changed it all. And now we want to continue to move forward, and we can't do it.
I don't understand why you can't, though. Why can't you do it?
There's 2 police departments here.
Okay, what are they?
They're the one that we have, and they're the one the mayor has. And that's as simple as I can say it. That's my observation.
What I find confounding, Rick, is if all these years we've been together, and you know, it's no secret I have a lot of respect for you, and I like you.
Same with me.
But you know, first I heard of these problems was when this letter got written. I'm in the chain of command, but I'm not your chain of command.
Correct.
I'm the lawyer, not for Mayor Johnson. I'm not his guy. And I corrected you last night. He's not.
You did.
My friend.
I did.
He's not my friend.
I did.
I don't ever use his first name.
I agree.
You've heard that.
I
right?
I have.
He's not my friend. My friend and my client is the people of Westover. So if the department's going bad because of the mayor's actions, the first thing you should do is talk to the mayor. And if that don't work, the next thing you do is pick up the phone and call me. Because that's my job. I'm here to protect the citizens and the general fund of Westover, not Dave Johnson. He's not my client.
Okay.
So that's my promise to you is if you don't get a result from the mayor that you think is appropriate, I'm available to talk. I can't do any better than that.
Okay.
You know, and from there, I'll go back and talk to the mayor. Well, 3 of us will sit down and work this out. We've worked out so many things, the 3 of us.
We have.
But this thing percolated up without me knowing anything about it. I could have added some value.
You could have.
And I've already corrected the mayor, and he's agreed with me.
Well, let me ask you this.
Let me finish.
Okay.
I've already corrected him, and he's agreed with me about intervening in the chain of command. So he's agreed and promised he's not talking to your subordinates anymore. That's out. You know, he goes to you. And if that doesn't happen, I need to know about it, and I'll help him do better. He wants to do the right thing. He really does. Sometimes that doesn't happen. You know how that goes.
And that's why I know him. We brought this up 5 months ago. We started this.
I wish you would have called me, Rick. I could have helped.
I was told not to call you. I was told, don't call nobody. You keep it with me. I'll make this decision. You know Dave. He's pretty linear. He likes to have control over things. Yeah. That's good. I have no problem with that. But when I'm told, I'll take care of this, you leave it to me, I'll make that decision. That's when I've said, okay, so where should I go with that? He'll tell me to call you. He'll say, you need to call Tim on this. He never told me to call you. He said, leave it to me. I'll deal with this. And the next thing I know, I got Dalton out there telling officers this thing. I'm telling you this right now, you're going to do this because the mayor's got my back. And I even told the mayor about that. I said, you've got to fix this. He goes, well, he took it the wrong way. He should have never had it anyway.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've given Dave a chance. We started this investigation on his cell phone 4 months ago. We started to initiate this. Dave would never give me the okay. Last Thursday, when I actually took unilateral action, and I said, I'm putting this guy on suspension, Dave came in and said, you didn't have permission to do that. I said, Dave, under my policies, I don't need permission to initiate an investigation. He goes, I can put a stop to this. I said, Dave, as your friend, I'm telling you, take a step back. He goes, I can put a stop to this. I said, no, I'm not your friend, Dave. I'm the chief of police. You're obstructing me. At that point, he just went off.
Yeah.
And you know him. He just has a hair trigger. So this has not been a slow process. Well, it has been a slow process, but when it got to this point to where he's out there telling everything that I would tell Dave, Dave would tell Dalton. And then Dalton would go back to the officers going, you think something's going to be done? You can just forget that. You don't know who runs this show. Even before I was gone, he's saying, there's a new chief coming. Don't worry. I'll be taking care of things. Now, this is going to the rank and file. Put yourself in a young officer's position.
Okay, we can fix that. We can.
Well, then,
when I realized what was going on, the story he told me was that he was talking to another one of your subordinates, and I said, don't do that. You can't do that. It corrupts the chain of command. And we talked about it for a good while, and he agreed. So I can help him, and I can help you guys if you let me do my job. Because if you see him, in this case, you're absolutely right. He was obstructing an investigation that you, as the chief of police, felt was appropriate. And, you know, that's a legal issue that I can help with.
And I gave him, knowing Dave, I gave that benefit of the doubt, going, Dave, let me give you some road signs here. Try to stay back from this. Let this thing roll out and see where it's going to go. He was convinced beyond doubt that I had it in for Dalton. He said, you're headhunting Dalton every day. And I said, I couldn't. He said, there's nothing you can say to convince me. Then we're not, what's it worth talking about then? Just let this investigation roll.
That's right. And if any one of your officers feel they've been inappropriately disciplined, they have the Civil Service Commission. They've got a pretty robust appeal process to deal with. The mayor doesn't have to get in the middle of that.
Well, you guys also need to understand that council needs to be informed of this stuff too. Dave gets his powers from council. Tim's up there, but council is also in charge. We've allowed Dave to become a working mayor and be in charge of daily operations. But if the daily operations are falling apart and causing the city trouble, council needs to be informed of all this too. And the old saying of Ralph Mullins and his horse shit that council does Dave's bidding is not true. If we're not informed, we can't do anything.
Let me ask you this. Did you see my resignation?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I submitted that with the idea of it going to council and let council put their heads together and go, why, so I can give them this answer here. That was the whole preview on this, because I knew I could not get this to council on its own. It would never, I could never get it there. It would never fly. Because
you know my number. You got my number in your cell phone.
I've been told that I cannot contact a council person outside of my chain of, I've been told this.
I disagree with that.
I grant you that, but who's the executive person that runs the city? If the mayor tells me not to do it, I don't do it.
Well, the council runs the city. Everybody didn't understand it. Council runs the city, and Dave's been allowed to have free reign at that sort of thing.
Well,
but if this is the kind of stuff we're going to have all the time,
specifically the mayor's the administrative authority.
Exactly. When he gives me an order.
Yeah, but if you feel the order is unlawful or even harmful to the best interest of the city of Westover, then your obligation is to pick up the phone and call me or call one of the councilmen.
And my guidance for 3 years is run it by me. That is the mayor's prime directive to me, which I don't question it because I've never seen it in a negative light. You know what I mean? It's never not worked for us. And I've called you before when Dave says, give Stranko a call on this and let him know what's going on. I don't have a problem. But he's forbidding me. He's actually forbidding me. I have somebody calls me up and I say, he's forbidding me to have people come to council meeting. Now, I'm not talking out of school. I'm just saying this is a concept of what I'm working under. I can't deal with citizens. And okay, if you have a complaint, here's the correct road to go to. Well, I don't like that, or it's not working. Well, you can call the mayor, or you can come to council. The mayor says, why'd you tell that person to come to council? I said, Dave, what am I supposed to tell them? You're not taking their phone call. I have been working, and I'm not a lamb. Believe me, I'm trying to be dynamic as I possibly can to get around this and make this thing work. And I've given Dave, believe me, I've sat down with Dave and I said, tell me something so I can understand why you're doing this. Well, tell me, so I'll accept it. But you need to explain to me why this man is getting this level of protection. That, when I have a citizen come and complain to me, and she's fearful for driving in Westover because Dalton came to her place of work and went through her cell phone and said, "Who are you having sex with?" And then at the same time he had sex with her on duty, the mayor says, "Make that go away, make that disappear." Now,
that's exactly the case when you should pick up the phone and call.
This is a fact. I mean,
this is a fact.
He confessed to it. Yes.
He calls me up drunk on a Saturday night with his wife in the background, calling me a dirty piece of shit that I'm trying to set him up and fuck over his career. And I didn't say anything. I said, "Take a breath." I said, "Relax. You've been drinking." He says, "Roll the dice. Take me to court. Sue me. Whatever you want. See what the fuck happens to you." And I said, "You're drunk. Take a breath." Next morning he called me. "I apologize. You're right. My wife was there. I couldn't say I was having sex with this girl because you know what would happen." I said, "I understand completely. I do. More than you'd even think. Come on in here and I got to give you a counseling statement, and we got to put this thing to bed because this girl has parents, and if they find out, there's going to be a shitstorm. There's going to be a goddamn lawsuit over this." I said, "You need to come in and tell me what happened, how it happened, and let me give you directions. You're not to have contact with her. I don't want to see anything about you around her. You're not even the fucking, if you see her drive by, you go to the other direction." He signed a counseling statement. When I got that subpoena, that was part of the 201 file. When I got that subpoena to submit all disciplinary action, Dave said, "Get rid of that." And then
you should not have complied with that instruction.
And then I didn't get rid of it. I put it in my personal file and I opened it up saying we have 6 months to monitor this to find out if further action is going to be taken.
So the difference I would propose is at the time you get an order like that, you pick up the phone and call me and say, "I believe I've just received an unlawful order." And that's my job. And I'll do my job. Guaranteed. And if I can't get it done, I'll get counsel involved. Because again, I'm not the mayor's lawyer, I'm the city's lawyer. And the city is being exposed to risk. This letter is huge risk to the city and to the department.
Huge.
And what it shows to me, John, is that the department leadership is not in control. Because to publish something like this and make it a public record, which it is now, it's in the city files, all discoverable, what does that do to the credibility of the department and the city? It just destroys it, for whatever reason. Why couldn't we have solved these things by conversation and by working together? Because we have solved a lot of problems.
But we followed our chain of command.
I was told, you just need to leave quietly and let this go because you're not going to change it. I was told this. So I came down and I told my lieutenant, I said, "Listen, I'm done here. I'm cooked. I'm fried. They're not going to keep me. They're looking for ways right now. I don't know who the particular they were, but I think the mayor was at this point because I was no longer. Dalton was actually giving commands to the officers going around me, and of course, officers are going through their chain of command, going, "What the fuck? Why is Dalton coming out here and telling me to go home, stand down, don't be here?"
Let me just disagree with your point, John. If this played out under your leadership, and you felt you had an illegal order, and I didn't respond the way you needed to, the next thing you do is you're briefing council every 2 weeks. You stand up in front of council, I request we go into executive session. You get council in here and you tell them what's going on.
So my failure.
I'll support that too.
My failure has been a friend.
You cut him too much slack, right?
Yeah.
You cut him way too much slack, to his detriment.
I agreed, and with the concept of maybe Dave sometimes is slow to shift. You know what I mean? You know that.
Yeah.
And hopefully he would come around. But we've all come to this conclusion because Dalton's led all our officers to believe this. There's something going on that we don't see between the mayor and Dalton. Now that might be immaterial to you at this point, but these officers are under a level of fear out there working.
Everyone I'm come to meet with.
What does Dalton have on the mayor that mayor would go out of his way?
If I knew something, I'd tell you right now.
Of course.
I don't know anything.
And so he's taking the ship down. It's almost like this is a cry for help, like suicide. I'm telling you, 2 days ago, I'm serious as a heart attack. My failure laid so much on me. I wanted to end this. I wanted to take a fucking gun and shoot myself because of my failure. I was that close of just saying, fuck this. When loyal people say fuck it, it's done. And I'm sitting back there going, I'm so close. I'm so close. I called the VA.
Say, it's not your failure, Rick. It's our failure. We've all failed.
I know, but you know as well as I do in the military, the CO pays. He signs the paper. His name's on the line. If I can't do it, I can't expect somebody else. And when I went to the prosecutor yesterday, I prefaced everything was like, I'm very hesitant to come to you for anything. And he was there. I'm very hesitant to ask for any help in this.
Dr. Joe?
Yeah. And I said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I said, but I have no options for my people. I can't fix this anymore. And I think that when I go away, this is going to go with me because we didn't know where you were in the loop, whether you were praised or not, because Dave's basically saying, you run everything through me and you let me know, or I'll tell you what to do into this.
That's his right by law.
But
when he makes an unlawful decision or a decision you feel is detrimental to the city, my job is to step in and help him make a better decision.
I'm all for that, but it's almost like when they called off council Monday or Tuesday night, I'm sitting in my office and all of a sudden there's a bunch of hubbub going on. At 5:45 I go down, what's going on? There's no council meeting. What happened? Well, the mayor had to go to the hospital. Why? You're not supposed to know. Well, I can only take the information I have available, and I'm sitting there going, well, is my resignation on the agenda? Well, no, it's not on the agenda. The mayor wants to handle that himself. Well, why would I submit a resignation through city council via the mayor like I'm supposed to if I didn't at least have a chance for council to look at this and ask that tough question? And that was the only reason I did that. I knew at this point Dave was not going to allow this to go through. If I just gave this to Dave, this would have went away. But if I put it through city council, the hope upon hope was, please, let's talk about this. Let's get this out in the open.
What I value more than anything else, and what we've built here in Westover over the last years, and Councilor and I talked about this the other day, is civic confidence. Is that the people can trust
public
the city
trust
government to do the right thing. This memo and your resignation letter are seriously detrimental to that. We've already got Danielle Walker and the rest of them screaming about it's unsafe to be in Westover. What a terrible thing that is for the city. That's why I want, for the good of the city, for you to withdraw your letter, recover it, and for you to take over as interim chief. That's the instructions that I have. And my promise to you, John, is that I will always be available. You can call me anytime. And if there's trouble, the three of us will just sit down and work it out. And if I can't work it out with him, I'm going to get Steve.
I have to say, I really thought, maybe I wasn't informed right or whatever, that you had recommended John for this.
By civil service, it falls upon him.
I was under the impression you'd recommended it and he was willing to do it.
No.
But I have a couple questions for you. So your main problem with Dave right now, if you would sum it up to everything, is Aaron Dalton.
Yes.
And Aaron Dalton is gone and he probably isn't coming back. So.
He's made phone calls last night to officers.
Well, then he needs to be.
But I'm saying, look at the psyche of a young officer on patrol. They're not privy to this stuff we're talking about. They assume we're taking care of this.
Well, if I was in your position and I was the chief of police, I would be telling my officers not to accept calls from Aaron Dalton.
We have.
But your main problem with Dave is Aaron Dalton.
He's a bad cop,
and he's gone, and he probably isn't coming back.
You need
let me
Steve. Jesus.
So yourself. If the Aaron Dalton situation was solved between you and Dave, if that was solved, you both see eye to eye on it, would you still want to resign?
Yes.
Okay.
I've lost the confidence of the mayor.
So you're going to resign no matter what. So that
I have a choice.
Right. Okay.
And what bothers me beyond anything is that, and I told Tim this, I've got police officers calling me saying that Dalton's letting them know they're looking for a chief in Westover and he wants to know if you want it. He's actually going out and looking for a chief of police for somebody, and who's giving him this authority?
Who's doing that?
Dalton.
Well, he's a jackass. There's nothing we can do about that.
But he's not going to do it on his own. He's not going to assume this responsibility unless somebody's saying, go ahead and do this. That's what I'm trying to get across. As much as we talk about what is right, there's something amiss here. There's something that's giving this engine power to drive this idea that this guy's got a right to call a Granville police officer and say, you interested in chief of police job? Because I can get you that job.
Well, that's a big assumption risk. You're suggesting that the mayor told Dalton to go find
I'm saying that the empowerment originally, my problem was, and I told Dave, you empowered this man. Dave took Aaron Dalton about 8 months ago. He wanted Aaron Dalton to work on parking. He wanted Aaron to work under him directly. I told him the problems associated with that. I gave him my best recommendation, that you're taking me out of this mix, there's no oversight. Dave says, let me worry about that. Every time I had a problem or complaint about Dalton, I would take it to the mayor. And he says, you're overreacting, or leave it alone, or he's doing what I exactly want him to do. Well, you know, he's arresting people for not giving fucking... He's arresting a girl because he goes, knocks on the trailer, and she won't give her car's parked in the driveway, and she will not give him his ID, and he arrests her. And I come back and I go, you can't do this. You're not allowed to do this. And I dropped the charges. I called the girl, got her, write a statement of withdrawal. She's good to go. We dismissed everything. And the mayor says, why are you butting in on that?
Because it's your job.
Well, there you go. You see, Tim?
Yeah.
And there's the mayor saying.
I can help with that. If you would just pick up the phone and say, he's walking into my lane.
But you were not, I was not given that opportunity. I was basically told not to.
I'm giving it to you now.
It's first time. We were very skeptical. We talked last night before you called me about what potentially is going to happen in this meeting. And I said, right now, the last conversation I had with Tim was he was angry. And rightly so. And I explained why I thought you were angry. And then we cut that to the chase last night. And you sent me that text. So I was mislooking at that. But I assumed that there was an anger buildup because of what was going on and how it happened.
Because I lose sleep over Westover for the last fucking 8 years. I work hard for this city, a lot more than I get paid for. When I see something like this that tears us down, it fucking drives me crazy.
It does.
On top of that, we got this guy sitting upstairs having another heart attack.
Yeah.
Because of the stress and the deadline that these guys put on us to get it done by today. Well, here I am. It's today. And why now would your officers be dissatisfied? I don't know.
Just like you said, it ain't been 8 years. It's been the last several months that we've dealt with this and sent it up, and it was stopped. And like I said, he's always told us we have strength in numbers.
The power. It's like
I told the guys that we need to put this in paper and give it to the mayor. We don't want it to go to council right now. We don't. We just want to let him know that we're not going to sit back anymore and let it stop.
Yeah.
When he comes to get it taken care of. So we said, we're not even going with him anymore. So I bypassed my chain.
Yeah.
Because he's dead in the water to us. He can't do nothing for us. I'm the next in charge here, so I go around him. We turned this in, and yes, we did say if we don't have something, it's going out to every council member, and you can see in the letter, the prosecutor, the newspaper, because we're tired of it too.
Yeah,
and we are willing, but we're willing, let me finish please.
Sure.
But we are willing to do this to ourselves as a department. With the atmosphere that's going on in the United States right now, and we're willing to do this and bring all that shit down on us, what's that say to you guys? Do you not understand that there's a problem?
I see the desperation. I hear the desperation.
And we're done with it.
But we can only do what we can do here, John. And all I can do is make you the promise that I'm going to support you in your function as the interim chief.
If, for lack of better words, he's being forced out. He said he'll go, and he's fine with going. Okay? Is the mayor going to be looked at? When you guys are in charge, are you going to take any of this stuff and say, Dave, we need to talk? Well, there's a problem here.
Trust me, I'm going to have a lot to talk about with Dave after this meeting here, but today isn't the day to do it.
Sure, I
know. The man just had heart surgery.
I asked the chief the other day, I said, can you call Mr. Stranko and ask him if he's aware of this letter once the mayor was gone? And he called, he said he was pretty upset, and I was like, that's fine. Tell him we'll give him till the end of the week. That way he's got 4 days to look at it.
Yeah.
And at least give us something.
I'm not
Meet with us. Ask us.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm here for. And I'm not here to defend Dave Johnson. I'm here to defend Westover.
And I appreciate that.
And for the department to have...
I live in Westover.
For the department to have a meltdown like this right on top of the Houghton morass...
Absolutely. Do you see one of the names on there?
Yes.
Officer Fesco.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's willing to do this.
Yeah.
Knowing what it's going to do to him in that lawsuit.
the better route, and the route that I hope we take in the future, is less formal, less writing. But we can learn.
And I'm willing. I told him I plan on coming in here today and saying this will be on hold. We're going to let the mayor recuperate and get back, and then we'll deal with this. I have no problem with that. These guys, I told them, I said, I'm not going to give you every detail we're going over. I'm going to take care of this and make the decisions. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Okay.
And I said, so we're going to tell them we're just going to wait till the mayor comes back and we can handle it the right way and not put you on the spot.
Well, I don't mind being on the spot, John.
But I don't like it. I don't want the city
That's
to
what we
come down
underpay him for.
Yeah.
What you just said is a minute ago is what really sticks in my mind. And as much as I respect and admire Rick, and I might add his whole family, he's lost the confidence of the department. And
I don't know about the department.
Well,
if you lost it in the department,
they
say
think
it
he
now.
can't solve the problem.
I don't think it's the department.
Well, or the mayor. Or the mayor.
Well, you certainly can't do it if he's resigning. That's just a fact. I mean, it is what it is. If he's not going to stay and figure out this Dalton thing and work things out with Dave, then no, you're right.
Okay,
he
let me
can't
ask
do
you this.
anything,
If you can get this fixed,
I can
I would
fix
like
a
him
lot
to
of things.
rescind
You'd be
it.
amazed.
I'd like to rescind it and not put it in and stay and finish out what he started to do with us 3 years ago and the direction we were going.
Well, we think you could do that.
And I'm all for that, but not right now. Why not? Why not leave him here, and then I can start working with him to do that. In a year or so, when he's ready, he's already told me, John, I'm not going to be here forever. And we've talked about, well, then I need to start getting involved in this side of the business and learning the budget and doing all these things. And he said, you're right, we do. But then COVID bullshit took over and everything else, and then all this started. It's kind of hard. We're limited to people. I'm an investigator, but I'm out answering calls. So it's tough. But he's always told me, I'm not going to be here forever. I said, that's fine, but let's see through what your vision that you came back with. Let's see it through. And he's been trying to do that. We've been trying to get in a new building for over a year and a half. What a big morale boost when we started that. And then it went idle and he just sits over there. He comes up here on his own time and goes over there and works. For nothing. I'm out asking people in the city, businesses, to donate stuff to us. Big Lots is donating us furniture for our lounge over there. The pawn shop's giving us a TV. We got Comcast to come in and wire everything for free. We got Stewart Electric come in and gave us all the lighting for free. We're trying to do something, and now it's sitting over here.
My
We should have been in there
dedication.
a year ago.
I have been here 3 years and I've never taken a vacation, have I?
No.
Never. I've worked holidays. I'm here every day because I take it personal. I take this very personal. At 2 o'clock in the morning, when they call me, I got to have the answer. My phone is always available for anybody. I've never shirked this at any time. And all of a sudden, when this hit me upside the head, and I'm finding out there's a parallel department running here, literally a parallel department running here, and I'm being told to back the fuck out of it, it's none of my business, I know where this is going, then all I can do is try to run my department. And then we were running that department, and it was working for 3 or 4 months. So let him do what he's going to do. Okay, as long as he doesn't cross over. And all of a sudden we get the crossover. He's coming over and he's making comments to the female officer. We can't even have her ride with him because we're afraid of what he's going to say or do.
Right?
Talking about Dalton. He's telling other officers, he goes, listen, I'm going to take you down the park tonight. And you officer, I'm going to fuck you in the ass, and it's not sexual. It shows you what kind of power I have over you. You don't tell a fucking 23-year-old police officer fucking thing that. You don't.
Yes, it's demented, but that's his mind.
That's his mind.
Everything he does.
And
you don't have to follow his direction. You don't have to follow my direction. You don't have to listen to your sergeants. They're incompetent.
The mayor's got my back. The new guy wanted to sign this letter. He's only been here a month, and he wanted to sign this letter.
So we've removed Dalton. He's on paid administrative leave, subject to an investigation.
For demotion. It's only demotion.
No, if you want to fire him, we'll put the case together to fire him.
The comment to that girl fires him on the spot.
Well, you see, there's the problem. I'm throwing, and you're right, I'm throwing Dave under the bus.
How?
Because he told me to bury it. And he told me...
He knew about Dalton saying that to that other officer in the vehicle.
Yes. Here's what he told me.
Dalton deny that one?
Dalton always comes back with,
It's a joke.
joking.
When I bring him in,
But did he say I was joking?
he told me he was joking.
Okay, so
when I brought him in to counsel him,
Confronted, that's always his.
He says, I'm joking.
Why was he not put on leave right then?
because the requirements to do this in our policy state that there has to be 3 occurrences of the same nature, unless it's so egregious, like a Fourth Amendment
pretty
violation.
egregious.
Yeah, that's pretty egregious.
Egregious is when you talk to the officer and going, what do you think about this? He goes, I just soon not ride with him no more. I don't want to make no trouble.
That's everybody's answer, because if you say anything against Dalton, then he starts even harder on.
I told Dave, I said, talk to your sergeants. They're the ones that know. They're the ones in the trenches every day. Talk to them. They're a bunch of pussies. They're going to lie. They're going to tell me what I want to hear, or they're going to lie to me to get rid of Dalton. There's something we're missing. There's no sense. There's no logic why this protection would be at that level for a man that's so egregious in these crimes. It doesn't make sense, and that's what I can't grasp. What hold? What is there that Dave wants to protect this man so much where he tells me bury something, don't let this get out, or he goes, Rick, I thought you were my friend, you were going to get rid of that paper. Dave, I can't get rid of it, but I thought you were my friend. Where do you look at this?
I'm willing to question his judgment. I'm not willing to question his motives unless I have some information.
I grant you,
I don't have the information.
but all we can do is cause and effect. That's all we have available to us. I know the mayor will be pissed off if I did this, so I'm not going to do it. I've done it before, and I know the effect. So all of a sudden, I keep repeating over and over again, I can't tell you how many times I went in that office to do a one-on-one with him about Dalton, and he's basically saying, get out of here, I don't want to hear this. And so that can only lead me to a belief.
So the next step is to pick up the phone and call the lawyer and say, I think we've got a problem here. We've got a problem that's going to impose risk on the city and the department. And I'll fight that to the death. And I'll leave if I can't get it done. And that's my promise to you. Because that's my fucking job. Mm-hmm. And I take it seriously.
But you know what? We've had attorneys leave here in the past. So what's that say to me? If you can't handle it, you're going to bail. I mean, we're fighting for what we want.
Yeah. And
But you're telling me if you can't do it, you're just going to bail.
Well, I don't have any other leverage, John. What do I have? I'm not even a resident of Westover. All I can do is go to the council and say the mayor's fucking up, and you're hearing it. He's hearing it right now. One of 6.
Well, and that's what
He's
we
hearing
want.
it right now.
I did not want this to go to council right now. I wanted the mayor to say, "Damn, these guys are serious."
No,
It hasn't gone to council.
Is this really? Is he really being
It really
this
isn't
way?
in council yet.
It'll be in council on
Monday. But
we all know what this is going to bring, because it ain't going to stay in council. It'll slip out.
Yeah.
Our guys are like, we won't do nothing with our copy because they all have copies of it. They're not going to do nothing until they're told to do something with it.
I'm head of agency. I'm going to take Dave's got cover. I don't. I'm going to be hung. I know this. It's my fault. Anybody can extrapolate that. I was the chief. I let this happen, so therefore it's my ass. I accept this. I don't have a problem with it. But the only thing I'm asking is, I cannot in good faith leave here if Dalton's going to come back. I couldn't. I'd fight tooth and nail in any tool I would have because he's so.
Your mission now is to work with John and develop a case to fire him.
Exactly.
But I don't think October, whatever you gave,
15.
I don't think that's enough.
Well, that's all I have authority to offer. I mean, I'll take it back.
Here's the authority.
No, he's not by himself.
I'm
by council.
One of 6.
Okay, that's fine.
He's one of 6. So you're.
I can tell you that I'm going to do my best to see that Dalton never comes back to this department after what I've heard today. That's insane.
And I urge you. I urge any of you guys with.
How long?
I don't know whose authority, but come and talk to the officers. Ask them.
How long has Dalton been on the force?
I hired him in 2013.
13. When did these sort of things start?
When the mayor took over Dalton, when the mayor seconded Dalton, August of last year, and it became a very slow.
What do you mean by took over Dalton?
He wanted Dalton under his direct control
For the parking.
for parking
What do you
issues.
mean by parking? By people abandoning vehicles?
The bullshit abandoned vehicle law, which he kept bringing up to me, and I'd bring him 10 different reasons why it wasn't legal. Or you got to give somebody time, and he'd go, they're fucking with you. You're letting them fuck with you when you give them time. And he says, I'm not dealing with this no more. I need somebody that's going to sit in that thing and do this job the way I want. I said, I can't do what the law says I can't do. And he goes, give me Dalton for a couple weeks and get him get this sorted out, and I'll tell him what I want. I had no reason to deny him that concept.
He's
He's the chief.
administrative authority.
So after about 4 weeks, I had several complaints, and I went to him. I'm saying, listen, this is not working. I'm getting the complaints.
Complaints from people
Citizens.
that
Because Dalton would
they
go
were
up there.
mad because their cars are getting
No, they're mad because Dalton's going, hey, give me another day. Fuck you. Fuck you. You don't have to give you shit. Turn around, go in that house, I'm arresting you. That's what the complaints I was getting. It wasn't the application. It was the approach. He just going in there saying, the mayor told me this car is going to be gone. It'll be gone now. Well, give me 4 hours to at least have a chance to move it. Reasonable request. Fuck you. It's not going to happen. You're going to move it now. I'm going to call Bland's. And
yeah, now I can tell you, I wouldn't want to pussyfoot around with me either, but I would give them 3 days. It'd be 72 hours. You got 72 hours to get this legal or get it the hell out of here.
Or even the concept that if you came up with a valid reason why you couldn't move it, we'll work with you. We will work with you.
Yeah,
we know.
Unfortunately, I got people around me that live around me, and I
understand,
see what they
Steve.
do,
Believe me, I do. But it's the idea that a police officer can be approachable to work out this solution with you, as opposed to no.
Sure, I get
fuck
it.
you.
I don't think a 4 hour notice is enough, but I'm just saying that once it's tagged 72 hours, get it out of there. But this is a whole different.
So it started gradually, and then little by little, I put out a new table of organization, and Dalton was not in the chain of command
Can I interrupt for 1 minute? He's been here 7 years, but the rest of the guys over here, Mankins is the only one that's been here 5, I think. Everybody else is about 3.5 years. All right, so that's where it really started. And it's been a couple of years ago when these new guys come. We had a big exodus here because of the way Dalton. Once he got off of his 1 year probation, it was on. Just fucking with people.
So this didn't start last August. This started.
Well, the biggest, all this stuff, yes. This was the main thing with all these new guys now. But bits and pieces before. But like I said, he never messed with me much. The guys would come and say, good God, you can't believe the way he talks about you. And I'm like,
yeah, we don't care. Just do the job, right? We preach our guys. The machine's running. Somebody calls you a pussy, it hurts your butt, fine. Deal with the shit and move on and keep the machine running. Well, Dalton's not getting a rise out of that, so he goes to the next level. He calls these guys at home off duty going, what are you doing? Who you with? And this is off duty. And I tell him, don't take his phone calls. Well, Dalton's going to take that as a rise, so he's going to come after him a different way. So he changes his tact every fucking time to the point where I'll call him in. I'm going, stop calling these guys at home. Dalton's go, okay, chief, but I'm just trying to relate with them. I'm trying to get social with them. I said, they don't want it. Stop doing it. So he stops doing it. He changes his tact. Now he starts fucking going and say, meet me somewhere down here. And when he meets, he goes, okay, ride with me. No, you can't. I can't ride with you because we're quarantined. We're supposed to be individual vehicles. At the same, Dalton says, "Fuck that rule. The chief's not in charge. I am. The mayor's got my back."
What if we do? I'm sorry.
No,
I get it.
You get it. Yeah,
I get it, and he needs to go.
Yes.
Yes, he absolutely needs to go.
What if we? And I'm asking this to Steve. Would you be willing to consider an ordinance forming a public safety committee that would be sort of a council? Intervention between the police chief and the mayor. So
we have that.
Believe it or not, I've been talking about that with Dave. We have a police committee, but
we have a committee, a public safety committee.
Yep,
we have a police committee. We also have a police commission. Those are two different things.
That's
yes.
right.
But yes, these things need to be reviewed, and there needs to be a group of people that the police department can go to when these issues happen.
Agreed. And unfortunately, there was a request from Ralph Mullins for some paperwork. Remember last meeting? He wanted a copy of the discipline policy. Mm-hmm. He wanted a copy. So I got this together, and there was a question. And I called Ralph and said, clarify this question. And he goes, he says, what's the civil services job? And I explained to him civil services job. And he said, well, how come council don't have anything? I said, well, council does have a tool. It's called the police committee, and you guys are well aware of it. You can act on and coming to approach the chief of police with the police committee because they've done it with me before back in the day. But I said, outside of that, I have an executive privilege with the mayor. And then he's required to come to you. And he goes, well, I said, Ralph, I'm not here to argue what you're getting and what you're not getting. I asked a simple question, clarify this request. And then, of course, he said, well, what about this police committee? I said, you need to take it up with the mayor. You talk to the mayor about that. And the conversation ended. So this is something that's never been utilized properly, that's in place for this one purpose. But we've never, ever, and God forbid, talking out of school, but I've been, let's just put it this way. When I brought this up to the executive authority, I've been told, what the fuck do they know? That I'll tell them what they need to know.
Oh, I know how he thinks.
Okay.
I've known Dave for 35 years.
So again, I took it as far as I can in that. And you're right, there is a public oversight with the police committee. And it's just like the Civil Service Commission. When we put this thing together, they had no idea what they were supposed to do. It took me 2 years. And outside my venue, little by little, what we do? We spoon-fed them. We trained them. Here's what you're looking for. Here's how you do this. Here's what we expect from you. And I told them last year, I said, no, I'm done. I got to be out of this because you're the people that's supposed to be keeping an eye on me. So I can't be part of this no more. But I've taken it to a level that they do understand. They do know what they're supposed to do. So this is the same with the police committee. If the police committee was embodied, because it is embodied, and it met, and then you give them an idea.
We've never met. I'm on the police committee.
Okay.
We've never met.
It would be.
Well, we went. Police commission met back when Ken was the chief.
There was no. But
we're the ones that started it.
Yes.
But those were just for hiring and
testing, disciplinary action, Chapter 8.
Yes.
But here's what I'm saying, Tim. This could be a valuable tool if you would reconstitute this and give it a format and get it properly vetted and trained to the idea that says here's what you're looking for. And then once the cops had confidence in this, the chain of command said, we think they're valued. Because right now, I'm hesitant. I got this disciplinary review board coming up that I talked to you last night about, that we're going to have to get this ironed out at some point to determine how we're going to do this. The reason I have to be on this board is because I have to be running this, is because he has to be on the board. It has to be somebody of equal rank. So I'm in that quandary that if I did resign under my belief that I would not be able to do this. And then, of course, we have to dismiss this charge because we're just like Andre. We don't have the ability to do a trial by jury. So I was stuck in that concept of, if I go, who's going to do this? And it's not to say he can't, but his job for the past, since I've been here, as chief investigator. And you can probably understand what that entails every day, as opposed to doing my job as well. Now, we're pulling him out of that slot, and he's going to have to wear my hat, and we don't have a chief investigator. So we've got to get somebody trained up, and we don't have the people to do that. I'm not...
You don't have the people that are confident can do
confident right now. Oh. Remember, they're very young. They're very new. We have a pecking order how we do things. Hilling was the assistant investigator. We kept him here for a couple years, felt him out, determined he was a good supervisor material. He tested for sergeant. Now he's an operations sergeant. We got Fesco in there. Fesco has potential to make a good sergeant. So as long as we keep him in here and he gets an idea of what we're thinking and how we do business, I'm good enough at some point to make him a sergeant and let him test for sergeant and put him on road as a sergeant. I'm not going to promote anybody anymore because they passed the test. And that's what we've been doing. They passed the test, we promote them. We're done with that. That's how we got Dalton. I didn't have a choice. When him and Dalton tested, he made lower score, but Dalton wasn't qualified. He didn't meet the requirements. I caught shit from the mayor. He goes, how the fuck? And I caught shit because I followed the code. He goes, you need to go and do that. I'm going, I'm not fucking with the code. So he got pissed off that he got lieutenant and Dalton didn't. Next time the test was taken, Dalton was the only applicant. We had one position, so we filled it. That was the law. But I've changed that. The hiring process and the interview process has been changed at this point. That's not going to happen anymore. So you do have a tool, Steve. If you put this together right, you got legal counsel to give you guidance. I'd be more than happy to come in and explain to you what we do and how we do it and make any policy. We have a policy manual that thick. You're more than welcome to come in, and I would hope you'd trust me enough that I wouldn't mislead you on this, because if you're oversight in the department, you need to know what the department does and how we do it and what is our guiding principle. Because he's right. These officers are trained from day one when they come in that you have the power as a police officer to make this better. If you make it worse, you'll suffer. If you don't, you can make it better. Now, they've taken it upon themselves to get together. And you might have heard this before, but we do everything by vote. Uniforms, shifts, weapons, training. We vote on this. Now, is that hiring? The last step somebody's going to get hired has got to go in front of the officers before we can sign off on them. They will not hire a guy they don't want. The last time we did this recently we had a guy, I'm not going to disparage this guy because he's turned out to be a decent officer so far, but he's still under probation. We received a background check on this last officer we hired. He had let go from another department because of a substance abuse problem. Okay? Which would automatically rule him out. Okay? His certification was not in question, but at the same time we had questions. So when he met with the officers, let's put it this way. It was a tough interview. He come out crying. He broke down and cried. In any event, when I took the names in front of the mayor said, I want him. I said, nobody wants him. He goes, I want him. He's certified. I'm going, Dave, he's got some history.
He admitted to us.
He admitted to them.
A couple years of problem.
And Dave says, I said, I got another guy that was a Marine and OCS, and he's perfect for us. No, I want this guy. I want him. You're going to hire him. So I went back and told the officers, as much as I want to say this, I can't control this because the mayor has the final say. So we're hiring this guy.
So if we activate the police committee, and there'll be a chairman of the committee appointed, presumably someone in the room, but whoever.
Sure.
And I attend every police committee meeting. There you've got your venue to protect yourself and to protect the department.
And council knows what's going on.
And council knows what's going on from that committee.
I would be more than happy to help you in any way under my position, whatever you feel it should be, to help you move this along, because I don't want to leave this half-assed. I don't.
Speaking out of turn, this is really Steve's lane.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some checks and balances have been missing.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot for me to digest here, all this stuff.
Sure. We live it every day. It is hard. I understand it. We've been dealing with this every night I go home.
My answer is I would love to do this, but that's what I would like. Not just a month and a half or so, but if you're going to put him under me, he can go in as assistant chief because that's an appointed position.
It's up to you.
And he can work me, but I don't think it should be a matter of a few weeks because I've got other things that I have to do too. I can't just stop everything and jump up. We don't have the manpower for that. But if council would agree to let him stay.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't speak for all of council.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you guys talk about
I have a little influence on council, but
with your help.
Well, I'm here representing the mayor, so I'm willing to talk through this. I mean,
But I would like to
how
see,
much time, John? What are we talking about?
when's the budget stuff?
Oh, that's not till next March.
Okay, well, still, that's only 5 months, 6 months. He's still under me.
that's not what you said, though. You said you're done. You want to go. You're done. I mean, what do you mean by that?
Well, the question is really what's best for the department? That's the question, right?
And that would be what I'm suggesting.
And I think, John, clearly the question, you and the chief's chair is best for the department right now. That's because of a lack of confidence, loss of confidence between the chief and the mayor and the chief and the department.
And I'm willing to regain that.
I believe you
with
can.
this side,
Yes,
but
sir.
I need help. I've never been into the role of the. He takes a day or so off for sick. I can handle this place. I have no problem with that. But to put it all on me right now, I don't know. I'm not aware
How
of
much more
his
time are you
day-to-day.
willing to give the city?
As much as they reasonably need. I'm more than willing to, once you get this police committee constituted, that we can sit with them and meet with them and tell them here's some guidelines that he has to meet, some checkoffs before I can say it's good and he's comfortable with it. You guys know what's going on at that point. You know how we're at. Every time we talk, get something done, we'll let you know at every council meeting that we're at that level. And, I think at that point, you guys might be confident and comfortable to say, we're good with him. There's no question whatsoever that we've got a finished product at this point. And it could be a month. It could be 2 months. I mean, here's our big problem in this. I got to take him out of a seat I can't fill. And that seat is everything that we do with the county on felonies. He runs it.
Well, let's do this, Rick, John. Let's say that Rick will remain on the city payroll until you tell us you don't need him anymore. That you're ready to assume the full duties.
I'm good with that, and I'm going to take advantage of that. It'll be.
That sounds very.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's just taxpayer money we're talking about.
Yes.
Here, so we can't be.
No, I believe me. I never took the job for the money, Tim. Never have.
So this committee you're talking about, we have a police committee now that's made up of just council members. is it sufficient for it to be just council members, or do you think citizens should be on it, or just council?
Council makes that decision based on what we bring to you and what you think it is.
Council would be informed of everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you don't want to
There's 3 people on that committee.
You don't want to step outside this concept of what you can't control outside this committee meeting by bringing somebody in that might not.
I get it.
Yeah.
Believe me. That's what I'm worried about all this.
Yeah.
What I'd like to add to this appointment letter, John, is that you're required to attend council meetings and to convene the police committee meetings at whatever interval the committee deems appropriate. And then you can have those meetings when you see fit, and the counselors.
Well, I can be at there.
So we won't need an ordinance for this because
No, sir.
because we've already got a committee that's formed, and I'm going to look at the other 2 names. You don't happen to have that with you by any chance?
No, sir, I don't.
Well, it's not Ralph.
But
Yeah, well,
I think it's Edie. Edie's one of them.
yeah, Edie is definitely one, and I'm trying to think of the third one. Might be Steve Lawrence, the new guy.
Yeah, because it was Al.
Yeah.
I hate to be a dead horse, but where are we at with Dalton?
Yeah, I'm getting to that. But let's fix this first.
Are you good with that, Chief?
Are you good with it?
I am, if you're willing to help
You
me
know,
get to that point.
we've never had a crossword between us.
Right.
And if you feel that I can pull this letter, this resignation letter, like they're requesting, if you feel comfortable with that and the guys feel comfortable with that, I'll do that.
I don't see him having a problem with that.
Okay.
At all.
Good.
Then
Good.
it's agreed at this point that I will pull this and we can just go with the standard. I'll be put on whatever you say underneath him.
Yeah, now you're not a certified officer, right?
Yeah.
You are a certified
Yeah.
officer. Why did I think you weren't?
It's been a long time, but
Okay.
been the academy certified. Now they did change the rules.
There is no other way to be certified other than going to the academy.
Right.
Correct.
Now they did change the rules for chief, just to give you a heads up.
Right after he was brought back.
The chief has to be a certified police
That I was
officer.
aware of.
You know that they buried that in a whole different
did.
section of the code. You'd think they'd put that in municipal code.
You would
No,
think.
They put it somewhere.
That's
else.
right.
And I found it. So
Because we had a call from some guy that's not certified that said he wanted to know if somebody would take the chief's job, and he'd sit there for 90 days until this other guy could come on board and take over his place. This is the shit that's going on behind the scenes that we're dealing with every day.
what I'm amending this to say you're a man on city payroll to serve as consultant to the interim chief. This transition period will end
To be determined.
John's
to be
request.
determined
Yeah.
by the.
Officer Morgan's request. I'm sorry.
So you're man on city payroll to serve as consultant to the interim chief. Your job duties in this capacity to provide the interim chief with support and advice as he may request. He will serve as your immediate supervisor during this transition period, during which I expect your full and unqualified support to ensure WPD continues to provide quality and effective service. This transition period will end at the prerogative of the interim chief.
I'm good with that if you are.
I am.
Okay, I'll make a copy of that so we both have copies. Now, to your appointment. So you will then be the chief executive of the department. And as Rick has really got really clear vision about this, everything the department does or fails to do would be your responsibility.
Correct.
Now this memo, this writing causes us, I mean, these are allegations, and some of these are very serious crimes.
Yes.
So what the city's tasking you to do is to investigate and make a recommendation about further disposition. And what this investigation directive asks is that you provide a written report so that we have a paper trail of us responding to this as you recommend. If your recommendations aren't accepted, that's up to council. That's between you, the mayor, and council, but certainly I'll be involved in the process.
Now that's going to happen in an executive session.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what does that executive concession entail? Is that nothing leaves this room?
That's how it's supposed to be,
Unless
Chief.
an action's
But
being
we
taken.
got a leak in council right now. It's, we have people that don't think about Westover first. But that's something the council has to discipline among themselves. I have no authority there, and I believe they will. So this is the appointment. This is the investigation directive. If you want to read over this for a moment, I'll step out and make copies of this.
I'm going to go see if they've got it posted on the wall there who the third committee member is. I want to know.
I'm going to grab my glasses. My eyes are
Go ahead.
just white.
I'll walk him through this. I know exactly what you're looking for that investigation.
And do I Do you want me to write on there that we're going to activate the police committee, or is this oral promise good enough?
It's good. I think I'll talk to John and I'll explain to him what it is. I think we're good with it on our side.
Okay. Steve is a good man. He'll do it.
He's stuck. Basically, you're going to formalize this letter as to people that made these complaints and approximate dates and times to the best of your knowledge or their knowledge, without any fear of retaliation.
Is this fair?
It is fair. It's the first step for them getting serious about it.
He stays on mid-leave.
Yeah. We'll make this work, John.
I just don't want it out. You know?
I know what you mean. Now we got some sort of saddle on a horse at this point, so to speak. You feeling good with this?
Yeah, but with your help again. Like
Well,
I said, it's not going to be a week or
Don't
two.
question. I'll be there.
I'll give that a read, Chief.
Okay.
And I have the authority to call you if I feel I'm being wrong.
Absolutely. You want to put that in writing, John? I will.
Yeah, I would, if you don't mind.
You need my signature on this one, or you want to draft another one with everything on it?
I'm good with that one. If you're
Okay, I'm good with
unless
it.
you want something
No.
to be typed.
Sir, I'm sorry you had to fall right into this, but I think we're going in the right
There's
direction.
some eye-opening going on here, I can tell you that.
So I'm going to add, what John has asked for, and I don't have an objection unless you do, is to add on to here that you have access to the police committee and to the city attorney to support your operations and leadership.
I think it'd probably be good for that to be in writing.
Okay. That doesn't mean that we're going to corrupt the chain of command either. I mean, we need to make the chain of command work.
Yes, I agree.
And we'll help the mayor do better. That's what I've been doing for 8 years. Counselor, are you the chairman of that police committee? Do you know?
We've never met, so we haven't done it, but I'm sure I could swing that. I get along with Edie, believe it or not.
You have, she's great. You have direct access to the chairman, the police committee chair, and the city attorney. To support your leadership and operations. The mayor remains your direct supervisor. And as you know, there's nothing we can do about that. That's code.
Yeah, the only way to get around that would be to hire a city manager that handles all that, change our form of government.
Yes, sir. Do you want to read this before we sprinkle holy water on it? You know, some of these allegations in this letter are felony crimes. So,
Yes.
I mean, I hate to dump this, I hate to give this to you to solve, but it's where it belongs. You're the expert and not me. I mean, as far as investigation and referral goes, right?
Yes,
So-
me and
I'll support you in whatever way. My goal is always to follow the law and to protect the city, and we protect the city by following the law.
and I want to protect that too. And like I said, none of us want to hurt the department or the city, but this is what we thought was going to take to get something moving.
Well,
And I hope it stays in executive session. I don't want that to go out with today's.
people need to trust the department.
I agree.
It couldn't be anything more important. public safety is serious business. That's why this bitch over here, sorry. That's why this delegate screaming about Westover's an unsafe place to be is so destructive, because we know that's not the case.
We've done a pretty good job in the past several months controlling
Westover's
this.
the best it's been since I've lived here, and I've lived here for 38 years. So.
I've been here 20-something.
Largely because of Dave Johnson.
No, Dave Johnson
Yes,
has basically
absolutely.
set a standard that's going to be hard to match. But Dave's only problem is that he tends to want to micromanage, and I understand his concern. Believe me, I do.
This is to protect him as much
Exactly.
as anybody else.
Exactly.
I don't want this to affect Westridge, the mall. I don't want it to affect anything.
Yeah.
And that's why we kept saying we will wait.
Did you?
Yeah,
Remind me to make sure
I was watching
good
this,
to
you
go.
was rating it, so
Okay.
I'm
Hell, we've had complaints
Initial off on that.
from mall security. Dalton won't even respond to calls up there. He just says, fuck you. We've just not sent him on calls up there.
I think Dalton's a done deal.
That's just an opinion.
Yeah.
1 to 6. I'm going to make copies of this.
Okay.
You guys can take these away. I'll be right back. Excuse me.
But yeah, Steve, when you decide to move on this, what I can do is I can give you a layout of what the police committee's oversight is, and then of course that'll strengthen that chain of command to you. And it's important for you guys to understand the policies and procedures, and because just like we was going to say last week, since the middle of August we've had 11 ODs in the city, 5 deaths. Okay, this correlates with that homeless coalition putting 13 people over here.
Trust me, I was in that meeting.
Well, you know that.
Yeah.
So at the same time, we've talked to the homeless coalition. I've talked to them personally, and
They came here.
this is even after.
Wow.
It's beyond their capability. They know these people are addicted when they put them over here, and they say that's part of their program. So at some point, City Council is going to have to address this concept of you're aware of it and you're not doing anything about it. That the police have to deal with it every day. So this is going to be an executive decision.
Yeah, it's just
It's
more
your guys'
dumping their problems.
They are,
Is what they're doing.
and we got ready landlords to take them.
Yep.
That's the problem.
I don't know who those are.
Well, goes without saying, and we've been trying to run this. This is sidebarred us. We haven't been paying attention to the things we should have been paying attention to because of the concern we have with this.
I need this to just go away, like not go away, hide it, but
Needs to
like
be fixed.
It needs to be resolved, fixed, done, and over with.
Yeah.
And Dalton is a cancer right now, and
Truly.
even though he says that's my opinion, it's true. It is my opinion, but I'm going to make my opinion known, and I'm going to take it as high as I got to take it.
Appreciate
I gotta
that.
Come back here.
Well, and that's what we looked at. We looked at, is it worth Dalton filing his lawsuit because you guys terminate him, or would you rather take on 10?
I know, but that's part of what you guys should be doing is building this case.
Sure.
against him.
Well, we have it.
And
My God, with all this stuff, how can it?
Well, this
possibly
And the
keep his
prosecutor
job?
has one of these that they're.
the prosecutor's going to be investigating the destruction of evidence for a cell phone case.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that one. I mean, what was that?
It-
This is a
No,
girl that he was.
No, this is another one.
No. That's already confessed to, and we've settled that with her also via video. Well, no, just an audio that she accepted what we did with the write-up on him, and she was good with that. Thank you. But that was just a.
What's the cell phone thing then?
It was another arrest that a cell phone was collected. The officer put in his narrative that it was put into evidence. Sergeant Dalton didn't like the idea that we were going to dump that phone, which means pull all the data off of it, which we do on about 80% of our arrests now, or drug overdoses or any kind of drug dealing. And he didn't like that because, for one, that guy was videoing the 2 officers the whole time, Dalton and the arresting officer. That phone was collected, brought to the office. He didn't like the fact that it was here. He said, I'll take care of that phone. The phone disappeared for a while, then it showed up for a few days, and then now it's totally gone.
Well, what is this? Was this a Westover citizen?
Yeah.
Yes.
What does the citizen say about their
Well,
phone?
if he's smart, he's going to get a good attorney.
It still hasn't gone to trial yet.
And it might be past the 1 year to do so.
She's going to extend this.
She was going to do the crime regardless, whether the time for him to be, his charges might be dismissed.
Probably will be.
But she is still going for the crime that was committed.
Civil or criminal?
No, it'll be criminal.
It'll be criminal. And that will be a felony, malprison of justice, police officer destroyed evidence relevant to a crime.
There's a couple felonies in here.
There's a couple in there.
There's a section 1983.
Yeah.
There's an assault.
And you hear, I'll even give
What's the
you,
law in uniform?
it's called malprison of justice.
That's it.
So
It's a felony too, right?
it is.
Yeah.
Even the police secretary, who Dave, nobody puts a lot of credence in this woman. She has control of the evidence room. She does all the file, subpoenas, warrants, everything.
And who is this person we're talking
Chris Riley, police secretary, right? And
Which one of
Our
them?
office.
our office.
This way. So
Yeah,
I've never met them.
Yeah. And Dalton, she's got half black grandkids. Dalton's going up there going white power, provoking her all the time over
And
this.
she's told him.
And she's told him, don't do this shit.
You guys need to build a file.
Well, that's what we've been. I mean,
Don't count on Perry Joe to do it.
No, we're not, because that's why we didn't give her the Fourth Amendment violation at O'Connell Lodge. I said we'll handle that ourselves, because that's everything else can be conjecture, interpretation. This is hard and fast because he admitted it.
Yeah.
So I have him on this because he admitted to doing it, but now
And he was on body cam.
and he was on body cam doing it. And this kid's going to get a lawyer, and we put this.
Doing what? What am I missing here? Wait, what? He got caught on body cam.
Go into it with him?
Yeah.
Good? Okay. 26 August, 3 o'clock in the morning. We have a strange vehicle on West Park Street driving around like they're lost. Officer interdicts, pulls them over. As he's following them, they pull in somebody's driveway, trying to elude the police. Well, it's not their driveway, so the police officer says, what the fuck? So why are you in this driveway? Well, the guy come out, gave us a name. We did our interdiction, do background checks. Well, the record didn't come back for this kid. Like, there was no record found, or records were down. In any event, the next morning, the records did come back up, and it said he was wanted out of Ohio. There was a warrant for him. So we knew he was down at the O'Connell Lodge. So Fesco went down to the O'Connell Lodge, knocked on his room door, said, I need to talk to you. At that point, they opened the door. Fesco went to the doorway and said, he just step out in the hallway. And they started talking, and he's explaining we handcuffed him and everything. And there was a female in the room. Both of them at that time said that this is not their room. They're just staying there. So they did have standing. Okay. So when Fesco's talking to the girl, Dalton comes by, and Fesco's trying to get consent to search the room. He's asking the girl, here's what we see.
Let me
Go ahead.
They all walk into the room because he is wanted out of Ohio.
Right.
He's barefoot. They walk him into the room to get his shoes. While he's there, Dalton walks over and starts looking around. Picks up a bag and says, and then Fesco starts to, and you can go ahead.
He says,
explain.
Fesco said, Dalton goes, I have plain view. Okay. Fesco goes, well, I'm going to get consent. And Dalton goes, I don't need consent. And he starts tearing the room apart. And he found 15 grams of pure fentanyl hidden in there. Standard issue is we step back and we get a warrant. That's standard. Okay. At that point, when he didn't do that, then he found the fentanyl. It comes under violation of Matt versus Ohio, fruits of the poisonous tree. It's a violation of constitutional rights. Illegal search and seizure. You can't use the evidence.
Even if the plain view, you have a plain
view just gives you
plain view stuff.
Gives you that reason, probable cause for a warrant.
Got it.
Okay.
The fentanyl wasn't what was in that bag.
No, there was nothing. A little bit of residue from
That was
marijuana.
a legal seizure. Right? The marijuana would have been because
If
we
we
saw
would have
it.
walked out with that.
Yeah, but we didn't.
But
Here's
then
the problem.
We took it a step further.
I'll put it to you this way, Steve. If I see this pen and I know that pen's illegal and it's in this room, I can seize that pen, then close that room and get a warrant to search the whole room.
And that's the part he missed.
That's the part he missed. And then the other part is that he's just a fucking idiot. He seizes this fentanyl, and when we got this kid in here, he's in the video. You can see the guy going, "You don't have a warrant. You don't have a warrant." So we get this guy in here, and Fesco's processing him, and Dalton comes in, and I chewed Dalton's ass out. I mean, it was unprofessional, but I was angry, and I basically said, as far as I'm concerned, you can clock out and go home for what you did. And what did I do? You had 2 junior officers there that were doing it right, and you just went around them and said, "To hell with that." So anyway, I took a formal complaint. This guy wanted to do a formal complaint, and he did a Fourth Amendment violation complaint. Okay, so he filled it out, we videotaped it, took the complaint. Dalton told the mayor that I told this black guy to file a complaint against him. So the mayor comes and jumps my ass. He goes, "Why are you telling these people to file complaints?" I'm going, wait, we're not even there yet. I mean, I haven't investigated this. I'm looking into it. Nothing's formal yet. He goes, "Well, all I know is you put that guy up to it." Well-
the guy in the room on video is saying, you ain't got the right to be in this room. He says it 2 or 3 times, I believe.
So Dave jumped me and goes, you put that guy up to this. I didn't discuss it with him because it was an open investigation. I go, you're wrong, but we're investigating it. He goes, well, I know how this is going to turn out. You're going to try to fuck Dalton again. Okay. So we investigated it. He called me up, and he called the prosecutors. Dalton actually called the prosecutor's office and wanted to stick it up my ass. I knew he was going to do this. So I knew what the prosecutor would say. The prosecutor said, you should have got a warrant. So Dalton calls me about 5 o'clock, and he says, hey, I want to apologize. I fucked up. I shouldn't have done that. Soft and syrupy. You know, I said, you know, I'm going to investigate this, and you're probably going to be written up for it. And he's like, well, I know, but you know, in the heat of the moment type of shit. And I said, okay. So at that point, I put him under investigation, and I wrote up the charge sheet, and I recommended administrative leave. I gave it to Dave. And this was on a Monday. Dave says, let me think about it. Tuesday, let me think about it. Wednesday, let me think about it. Finally, it got to the point where, okay, I looked at my policy again to verify. It says the chief of police has the right to initiate any investigation on any officer at any time. It doesn't say termination or anything. It just says he has the right to do it. So I suspended Dalton with pay, and I gave him why. He was at home, a day off. I went down and told John, I said, I suspended him now. He's the only one who knew it. Within a half hour, Dave's over there going, who gave you permission to do that? I said, I don't need your permission.
Well, that means that Dalton must have called Dave, right? Yeah.
So I said, I don't need your permission. And he goes, oh, you don't? You don't need my permission. I'm going, listen to him, I'm going to tell you as a friend. Let this thing roll. Just let it go. He goes, I can put a stop to this anytime I want. I'm going, now I'm telling you as chief of police, you're obstructing me. And he didn't like that. So he got mad and he went over to his side. And that's where I left it with him.
Now what we've got in place, hopefully after this discussion, is at the point where you didn't get a response from him, John, you pick up the phone and call me and say, we got a problem here.
Yes.
Or you pick up the phone and call the chairman of the police committee and say, I need some help. This is not working the way I think it should work. So
I agree.
We've got some more support for you.
I agree. You're totally right.
I'm going to leave this meeting regretting that I couldn't have done that for you a year ago or 2 years ago.
We tried, Tim.
And I'm sorry.
Not Tim. I understand. But you know, we've both been in the same background. At the end of the day, we know where we failed. We try to be better and leave something better behind us. And that's what we're doing now.
You are doing that.
So we're doing it.
That. So
okay.
At least have that takeaway.
Good.
Well,
okay.
Thank you for your willingness to step into the big chair. I know you're going to be a success, and he's going to make sure you're a success. So
do I get his pay?
Have it.
That's going to have to be talked about too.
That's something.
He makes 50. I make 50 cents more an hour, so you can have it.
But I think we can afford it.
At this point, I think it's important to talk about this. Let's not make a joke. You're still eligible for overtime, and we haven't changed you to salary.
Do not. Yeah, do not. I'm making a recommendation. Don't do that.
And I think looking at the numbers without revealing, your overtime is valuable to you, and I think you know that. Obviously, I think you make more than he does.
He does
because of that, and I don't. We'll leave it the way it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But at some point, council's going to look at those numbers and figure out maybe we need to do something else.
Yes.
But salary non-exempt would give you more pay, but no overtime. So.
Yeah, but no
I lost $2,800 the first year.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Boy, vacation's so important. You got, especially in that
you
job.
got to take vacations.
In
I did
the
that
job
myself,
you've got,
working for myself.
you
Take
need
vacations.
you need to decompress.
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here. And so we need to work at that. But you'll still have all that. We haven't changed anything about your pay status.
We're good to go right now. This puts a lid on stuff, levels it out a little bit, so we can start looking.
So you're going to withdraw your resignation letter.
I don't know what I got to do to withdraw it, but Dave has it. If he just wants to throw it away,
it's your property. You decide.
Then basically
they're withdrawn.
You guys have it withdrawn.
Okay. And as far as this 2-page memo goes, I'm obliged to share it with council. I have to do that, and I'll do everything I can, John, to make sure that this stays in house.
And I will let these guys know that it is going to council. Now we know I can go back and say that they are looking into this. I will be investigating each of these, and a recommendation will come.
Yes, sir.
So,
all right.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chief.
Appreciate
you guys for your time.
Good luck to you.
Good talking, guys.
Good talking to you too, and thanks for taking the interest.
You need to put my phone number on your cell phone.
I will get it from the chief.
All right, John.
He has
Thank
mine
you.
as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
You good?
I'm good to a point.
It's your new chief.
Chief?
Oh, sorry.
How much longer do I have a job?
For a while.
So you're not leaving Wednesday?
No.
How did it go?
I think it went.
I think that we opened some doors and we established some new things that are going to be set up that are going to help us greatly.
Okay.
It's going to take away that line to the mayor, straight to council and to the city attorney.
Great.
And I think they're serious about.
Dalton being gone.
Oh, I think they're serious about that.
That will take some time, but it is.
Well, you have to go through your steps
We do.
and your process
Yep.
and make sure that everybody's asses are covered.
So,
I knew that wasn't going to be done next week,
No,
but
but I wasn't going to leave until that was done, and that was a stopping thing for us. One second. You probably need to call Buck about this.
Oh, believe me.
Okay, thank you.
and I'm glad.
These are mine, sir. I'm sorry. These weren't supposed to be your desk.
And I'm glad that now other people are seeing
These are the prosecutor.
it's not your fault.
It is.
Rick.
It is. You
Rick.
come on.
Chris, about this much is. The rest of it
I know.
is.
But the bottom line is we're getting it fixed.
It's still not your fault.
If we climb over dead bodies to get the job done, the dead bodies did serve a purpose. So we're good.
Like I said, it was all for the right reasons.
It was.
The thing, and the thing is, you know me and my right and wrong thing.
Well, the big thing is they got out there the belief and the understanding now that these officers have power, and that scares them.
I threw it out as much as I could.
They scared them. It's
And this is sort of a question now. When does it official? When are you not chief?
technically Monday morning when I come in, he'll be wearing these.
Do you think we could hold off on that till Tuesday? I mean, officially on paperwork it'll be Monday, but on Tuesday, do you think there? I mean, I think it'd be kind of nice since we're having a meeting that we could do like a.
We can do it on Tuesday, can't we? It's not going to change anything.
So wait, you're going to physically be going out of here?
No. I'll be his advisor,
Pretty much assistant chief.
assistant chief.
I know you're not ceremonial, and I get that, but
Okay,
there are
no,
some people
I
that probably
just-
would like to say some things to you.
Well,
as
come on.
Towards you as chief, and then you can kind of hand over the power to him during the meeting. I think that'd be kind of nice for us to see.
Yeah, it will be something formal.
You're fine.
No, we've actually got this to the point where the police committee is now going to be actively involved
And know they exist.
and know they exist, and they're going to be part of this. That they're the first step. Them and the city attorney will be going. The mayor is left completely out of that loop if he so chooses.
Yep.
All he's got to do is inform the mayor that he's doing it, and then if he gets any slack or no push on this or any push, he's to call the city attorney and police committee,
As it should be.
as it should be.
What about the?
Now, I want to have a question. Is any of them really concerned about why he was defending him so much?
In their opinion, we're not going to speculate.
Yeah, they don't want to speculate, but obviously there's something. Yeah,
that's ugly.
I mean, Steve's in there like, whoa, whoa.
See,
Wait.
because he wasn't told any of this stuff, Rick.
He
It's
got
all
hit
been
with a lot.
kept.
He got hit with a lot of shit
He had
today.
No idea.
So, and it'll be our job.
Are you still?
It'll be our job. Honestly, it'll be our job, and that's the police officers too. It'll be our job